There's just so much.
You're listening to a Mamamia podcast.
Mamamia acknowledges the traditional owners of land and waters that this podcast is recorded on.
Hello, it's Mia Friedman, and I am dropping into your ears with not an episode of No Filter, but a brand new podcast from Mamamia that I wanted to share with you, which is kind of in the same family as No Filter, because if you like No Filter, you are going to love Little Love Stories. If you are a long-time listener of Mamamia podcasts, you may have heard of or even listened to at one stage our family podcast called This Glorious Mess. It was our third ever podcast. The first one was Mamamia Out Loud, then No Filter, and then This Glorious Mess. Back in the day, it was hosted by my friend Holly Wainwright and the very entertaining Andrew Daddo. And over the years, with a roster of incredible hosts who have aged in and out depending on the ages of their children, the podcast has solved many a parenting dilemma. We've spoken to experts, we've vented about breastfeeding and daycare and mental load, pretty much everything, identity, all of those things that are connected to parenting. And a few weeks ago, we started changing things up at This Glorious Mess, and it entered its new era. Joining our co-host Tegan Natoli, who is a mother of 3 little kids, including twins, we have Annaliese Todd, who is in a different phase of parenting. You may know Annaliese as the person from our socials who's the elder millennial who's been trying to understand socks. She's often walking around the Mamamia office wearing a promotional blanket from Binge that got sent in for something because she gets very cold. We have welcomed her to the show. She is a single mother of 2 boys who are older than Tegan Natoli's kids. And we've also welcomed Sarah Marie Fard to the Mamamia family. And you'll know her from seeing her on TV on Gogglebox. But it's not just new hosts that we've got new stories and experts and guests to reflect exactly what it means to be a parent or to parent in 2024. Little people and big people of all ages. And as part of this glow up, we have introduced a new episode every week, and it's called Little Love Stories. And each episode is an open-hearted interview with someone who has a story about love in all kinds of different forms. It might be about a person or an object or an event. It's all under the broad umbrella of families and love. Little Love Stories explores gratitude through writing, first in the form of a love letter, and that letter then becomes a heartfelt conversation about that topic. And there is such a wide range of stories. There are poignant stories with a love letter from a woman to her breasts after a mastectomy. They've all got so much heart. There is one writing to a mother who's no longer around, also pivoting a full 180 to just complete silliness, sharing a love letter to a Thermomix. People are obsessed with Thermomixes for making parenting that little bit easier. Apparently it does. I don't know. I don't have one. Little Love Stories is great because it just shows that it's inspiring. It's good news. It's happy news. And it shows these little moments of love and magic. And the episode I'm going to share with you today, in case you're wondering if I'm ever going to get to the point and stop talking, it is a love note essay by This Glorious Mess host Annaliese Todd, who I told you about. As I said, she's a single parent to 2 boys who are tweens. And it certainly hasn't been easy for her to transition to this new lifestyle in a new city as a single mother. But she had a moment recently that really gave her some hope and inspiration and a little bit of perspective. This is Little Love Stories by This Glorious Mess. And if you want to hear that podcast, search This Glorious Mess in your podcasts and follow it.
I love you.
I can't live without you.
From Mamamia and This Glorious Mess, welcome to Little Love Stories. I'm Grace Rouvray, the producer of This Glorious Mess, and if my voice sounds familiar, you may have heard me on Mamamia's news podcast, The Quickie. As I've gotten older, I've enjoyed hearing stories about bravery. When we're young, bravery is really only marketed to us as physical strength, or maybe standing up to the bad guy or the bully, all these sensationalised Hollywood ideas of bravery. But with age and experience, I realised bravery comes in many forms and unexpected moments. Our story today is our very own host of This Glorious Mess, Annaliese Todd, our wisecracking and open-hearted writer, podcaster, and single mum of 2.
There has been such a stigma for so many years about single mums. It's portrayed as negative. I don't take this position lightly or responsibility lightly to just normalise that this is what a family can look like.
But Annaliese Todd isn't just deep in the throes of parenting. She's been demonstrating strength to her 2 sons in some less obvious ways.
Oh, well, here's an opportunity that I can give this to my sons now. I can show them that women can be strong and brave and capable.
So I was really drawn to today's little love story as it asks the question, how do you instill and teach respect to people, children even, when you're still learning how to respect yourself? But first, here's what a little bit of love sounds like today.
Oh my God, what's the word? Excellent question. I want to get my answer right. Okay.
What does love mean to you?
Safety, support, passion.
Support, adoration, comfort. Yeah.
Safety, intimacy, and heart.
Stressful, interesting, and fun.
Eating, sexy, communicating.
Dedication, compromise, and trust.
Warm, full, and safe.
Annaliese, I've been looking forward to this conversation. Welcome to Little Love Stories. You have so many stories, but this one, it's a pretty important one for you right now.
Yeah, it is. I think it's important for me, and I think I love sharing single parent stories and voices.
You wanted to redefine what it is to be a single parent, or at least the perceived perception of what it is to be a single parent. What do you feel like those perceptions are?
I mean, look at the 50s. They weren't even allowed out of the house. And I think there has been such a stigma for so many years about single mums. It's portrayed as negative, and I don't take this position lightly or responsibility lightly to just normalise that this is what a family can look like, and it's okay, and it's actually not all doom and gloom, and it's far from it. There really are silver linings to any situation in life. So I'm just happy to share it and be here with your beautiful, soothing voice.
So your little love story essay, it's full of vivid examples of your life as a single mum. It begins with you describing your unique commune life, as you call it.
Yes.
I can confirm I have been to the commune. So you had a moment, Annaliese, where your perspective of being a single parent, I won't say it started to change immediately, but it opened up the possibility for change. Can you talk me through that trigger point, what happened and how it started to evolve?
I had a beautiful friend over who'd been a single mum for many, many years, and she also has 2 sons very similar ages to mine. And so I was very much sort of leaning in on her because, especially in those early times, you just lean in on other single parents because they just get it. It was like a Friday night. We'd had a commune dinner, and of course I can never get the TV or internet working in my house. It's just a permanent pain point. And we were trying to set up the TV. It was just so frustrating, but obviously I was trying to hide it in front of the kids. And my girlfriend, she was just so calm under pressure. And her little boy, I think he would have been, 9, he just said, "My mum will figure it out. She can do anything." And she did figure it out. In that moment, I just saw this hope for a positive that can come out of the experience for children of divorce, because of course when you have kids, and especially if you're separated, the first thing you think about is inflicting pain and trauma and how it's going to impact them and the blueprint of their life. But in that moment, I saw a positive from the child's perspective of how he viewed his mum, that faith, and how he viewed her as so strong and capable and brave. And I thought, oh, well, here's an opportunity that I can give this to my sons now. I can show them that women can be strong and brave and capable, and I can make them feel very connected with women. And that's hopefully going to set them up for relationships, whether it's romantic or any women in their lives. I felt like, great, they can have that connection and that respect to women.
In another part of your essay, you talk about how you would never have chosen this life, but then you go on to speak about how it's given you identity. Could you read that part out for us?
Yes. Nobody has kids thinking they will only see them half the time. It's incomprehensible, even nearly 2 years on. I miss them when I'm not with them. It goes against the very instinct we form from the moment they're plonked on our chest, to sniff their heads and kiss them goodnight every night. When I'm with them, there's a feeling of wholeness that I don't have when they're not there. But I didn't get a choice, so I'm choosing to make the best of it, and I do. Like many things in life that test us, that breaks down the very fibre of our being, when we do manage to rebuild ourselves back together again, it can be the making of us. And I would go as far as saying that as a single mum, I am a more present, better parent than I was before. And for that, and for all the reasons above, I can only have gratitude for all the silver linings it brings.
When you were reading parts of your article out, it kind of hit you in a different way. What did it bring up and what are you feeling now?
In order to function in 50-50 custody, you have to be able to compartmentalise. When I'm with my kids, I'm all in, but when I'm not with them, I have to be able to have a wall because it's just too painful. No one has kids thinking they'll only see them half the time. It's a grief.
And we know so much about these silver linings of your beautiful commune life, but can you talk us through a few of those?
I think it's so important to caveat because I get a lot of feedback from single mums when I talk about my experience who don't get breaks, who have sole custody. I cannot speak to them and their experience because that would be the kind of relentless, exhausting experience that I can't even imagine, and most of us couldn't fathom doing that on your own 24/7. For those of us who do get breaks, it's kind of like a double life. You know, when I'm in mum mode, I'm all in. But then when I don't have my kids, I get to be really selfish. For the first time in 10 years, I was able to be selfish. And I think that's such a foreign concept, particularly for mums, to be able to have the freedom and the luxury to be selfish.
Well, let's dig into what you've found about yourself through having this time to rediscover who you are. What are the parts about your identity that you've discovered by being a single parent?
I love not being someone's wife. I do. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I will never be someone's wife again. I just don't want that label. I was so young when I got married, and I feel like at 40, I finally can focus on me and my career. And I've got the time and space to do that now. I can go to the gym, I can go to the beach and read a book. This is when I don't have my kids, obviously. I go out a lot with friends, and I feel like I re-found joy, you know, like that character in Inside Out 2, the function of joy that takes over your brain. And I feel like she was lost, and she was lost in the back brain for a long time, and she's back. And it's just, I feel joy in life again.
And how do you put that joy that you found back into parenting? Do the two go hand in hand?
They definitely do. And it goes back to having the breaks because I don't see them, so I get rested and I have that time and space to be selfish. So when I am with them, I'm just so grateful for all of the time that I have, and I just cherish every second. I don't take them for granted anymore. I truly believe I took them for granted. I used to be like, oh, parent burnout and I'm tired and I just want to go out with my friends. Well, now I would like to see them more and I can't. So when I'm with them, I just breathe them in.
Soak it up.
Yes, creepily, when they're asleep, I'll just walk past and sniff their heads.
Yes, well, you do that with small children that aren't yours as well.
I know. I am a head sniffer.
You
It's a
are.
beautiful smell. It's intoxicating.
We've heard all about the duality of balancing roles as a single parent, but next up we hear the importance of reclaiming personal time and identity. Annaliese, the final part of your essay talks about who you are defining yourself as now. Could you read that out for us?
I am good at filling my social calendar, but have also gotten good at being on my own, and I am proud of that. Being single and having half my time to myself, I got my identity back. But more than that, there's a strength and resilience ingrained in my new identity. When I am with my kids, I cherish every second I get with them. I have more patience and am just so appreciative of the time I do have with them that I used to take for granted. I've become a fun mum and I'm way more relaxed. I don't sweat the small stuff. Like ice cream for dinner, sure. I mean, sometimes. Picnic in front of the telly, watching age-inappropriate reality TV, definitely. We love doing that. And we get to do activities together now that I enjoy doing with the kids. And even though I see them less, I don't feel like a spectator on the sidelines anymore.
What age-inappropriate reality TV did you watch?
The Real Housewives of Sydney is our favourite.
Okay.
Yes, that's probably our favourite. We just finished Young Sheldon. We've just started Modern Family. Like, we just have these little rituals and things that we do together now that all three of us just enjoy and just love so much.
I can see it now. There is this beautiful spark and this energy as you're talking about it. So what is the most exciting part of this part of your journey in rediscovering yourself?
I think the biggest misconception about a marriage ending is that your life ends when your marriage does. And one part of your life definitely ends. That's dead. But it's also this new opportunity for a new life and a new story. And you get to write that story. I'm just very excited about my current story and where it's going to go next. I'm just excited.
If someone is listening and they're a single parent and they're holding that sense of shame or failure that, as you've said, one part of their life is completely over, what do you want them to take away from this, or what do you want them to start to work towards, I guess, their thought process around how they see themselves in relationships?
If anyone's early on in the journey, there's so many beautiful bits of advice I've been given. One of them is nothing is permanent, everything's temporary. So no matter how bad it feels in that moment, it literally won't feel like that forever. And then the other beautiful piece of advice that someone gave me was, don't focus on the light at the end of the tunnel. Just look out for the glimmers while you're in it. And then at some stage you'll wake up and you'll realise that you're back in the light without even realising it, and you're living and loving life, and the light's actually brighter than it was before.
It really is similar to that beautiful grief metaphor. I don't know if you've seen it, where there's like a ball and over time people think the ball gets smaller, but it's actually the space around it that gets bigger. So that divorce or that separation could always be a pain point, but you're always going to find more space around it, and you're going to find space for the joy to come in, or for new opportunities and new experiences. And it sounds like that's something that you've really found in your life over the past 2 years.
Yeah, it's just time. It just takes time and building new, beautiful, positive memories.
We always end our little love stories with the question, what qualities do you hold most dear about love now? And what's that for you, Annaliese?
To feel safe with love. It's light and it's joy. And there's a Dr. Seuss saying, which I love, we're all a little weird and life's a little weird. And when we find someone whose weirdness is compatible with ours, we join up with them and fall in mutual weirdness and call it love.
Oh, I love that.
Mutual weirdness.
Mutual weirdness.
It's
well, that's
love.
our whole office, isn't it?
It is. That's why I love coming to work every day.
We're all just being weird. Oh, Annaliese, thank you so much for sharing your little love story and for having this conversation today. Annaliese is very clever, and you can hear her on This Glorious Mess every week, and her full little love story essay will be dropped in our episode show notes. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Gracie Grace.
If you have a story you'd like to share with us, we'd love to hear it. We're always on the lookout for great stories and new perspectives. To submit your story, you can leave us a voice note or email us. All the details will be in our show notes.
If you love this podcast, you can listen to more of This Glorious Mess. There's a link in the show notes.